We want to gain an understanding of the 2016-2017 Mentor Forum foci and components. We're going to use our knowledge of social and emotional learning to assist in identifying a case study teacher for the year. We'll also examine the relationship between socioeconomic status and poverty with academic. And then finally, as with every mentor forum, we'll be reflecting on our mentoring practice.
Capture me generation. So capture this, capture that. But then I'm also noticing that a lot of it comes from her insecurities of trying to figure out what everyone else is doing. So you can go on Pinterest and figure it out. You can go on Facebook and ask a question. So whereas I would reflect with colleagues and I would reflect with my peers and reach out, their level of access drives them to figure it out in different ways. So especially in the primary grades, we can find a lot of cute things. We can.
He has this persona of where have I got this? I'm from here, because he's from the community, and he is very self-aware of what the students are going through. The environment that he is in is a revamped, revitalized area, and so the symbols kind of represent the school and the community where he is serving. But in the same instance, I'm grappling with how to allow him to move out of being one that is from the environment and behaving as if he's still a part of that environment on the student's level, and moving beyond to being that leader and being able to.
So what we have here is a teacher. My teacher is very likable. Her students love her. So that's a big plus, and we are trying to leverage that in doing the other things that we are trying to do as far as building structure, routines, and procedures. So the biggest thing that she has is, or the biggest challenge that I see her having is getting her students to listen, to follow her routines and procedures, and to get into the structure so that way she can deliver effective instruction. So we've talked about classroom expectations, we've talked about so for example, she came up with something non-negotiable about staying in students staying in their seats at all times. But as you can see from this picture, students are all around her. There's some that are sitting down. There's some that are on her desk. If you notice, some are
She's the best of the best JV and has been called up to varsity and is not quite of size, but yet is on time to practice, does push-ups every morning, like trying to remember the position of things in that stance. And she's really more of an athlete, more so than a basketball player. And one of the primary reasons is because she wanted to teach a different subject. And so, but she was already at the school and was already thinking about doing more. So she's basically ready to go. And so at this point, there's 5 varsity players. She's got on the right shoe, she's got on the wristband, she's got the headband, all these other types of things. And we have a position that has opened up on the court. This is obviously potentially a more veteran teacher that has been called away for some reason, and now she has to step in and fill that. So she's bringing all of that athleticism to the game, that wanting to be there, really flexible, meeting and doing all these things, but just, you know, it's different when you get in the game. It's just a whole.
At school, teachers don't need to come from their students' cultures to be able to teach them, but empathy and cultural knowledge are essential. All right, and at this time, I will share some brief examples from my professional or personal life. Tamika and I were just talking about a lot of our teachers are from Atlanta, but it's not the same Atlanta that our students are growing up in. So the connections are there in terms of the city, but the experiences are very different and unique for our students. So at times, some of our teachers may feel as if the students should be able to get it together, because I was able to get it together and I grew up in the same area and went to the same schools as you. But the Atlanta that we knew 25 years ago is very different than the Atlanta we have today.
I walked into one of my teacher's classrooms and it was very chaotic. Kids, this is a 4th grade classroom. Kids, you know, running around the room, fights breaking out, just a lot of chaos everywhere. So I made a decision to sit by one of the leaders of this chaos and just engage in a conversation with her around, hi, I'm Mr. K, what's your name? Just something as simple as that, to start the conversation. And before you knew it, she and I were working on a math problem together, and then another math problem. And then when I attempted to get up and leave, she followed me across the room and said, please don't leave. And I said, well, I need to go and support some other teachers. And I said, I'll be back next Tuesday. I did come back next Tuesday. And again, I sat next to this young lady and worked with her. And we have begun to develop a relationship. Well, this past week, I was meeting with principals, so I didn't have time to get into that classroom as I normally do on Tuesdays. But I did get in there on Thursday, which was yesterday. So I walked in yesterday. I was greeted by many of the children. And then one of the little girls said, Diamond, which is the girl I'm referencing, she said, Diamond cried on Tuesday when you didn't come. And Diamond came up to me and she said, I did. So, I mean, it was great for myself, obviously, to feel that, but I think it speaks to that need to form relationships with children. Now, and it's difficult.
And I'm so glad you got back into that classroom on Thursday.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, when we cannot make it for a regular scheduled visit, what's the best way to address that for both the teachers and the students?
Because oftentimes I just think about the teacher,
Yes.
but you're also developing relationships with
Students as well. Yeah. Well, we actually develop the relationships with the students, with the teachers to ultimately impact the students. And sometimes we're not really cognizant of how powerful that connection with the teacher is. What about our teachers who are from that intense poverty, who did make it out? How are we equipping them? Yes,
To share this.
because maybe they don't even know how they got out.
I think sometimes they still don't know how they got out.
Yeah.
It's just having conversations with some that are apart, they're still dealing, and they need us to help them figure out how to deal with that as an adult, so that they can provide that experience and that insight for their students to figure out how to deal with
A
it.
common observation is, bless their hearts, they have come from such terrible circumstances. The problem with that sentiment is that it leads to lowered expectations. And yesterday, ironically, I experienced this with my teacher. So the classroom was pretty chaotic, and there was one in particular that was acting out, like from your passage, and just blurting out and very impulsive. So I sat next to him and got him to do his work, and she commented that, this is like the first time that he's gotten anything accomplished. So we debriefed afterwards, and the assignment, by the way, was to define a plethora of words. I mean, there must have been a good 30 words, and that was the assignment. So that's why that piece, lowered expectations, jumped off the page.
Challenges, I think, in working with an underperforming school district, that we feel this sense of anxiety, urgency really is what I want to say, urgency that, we've got to get the kids to learn this.
But she saw it as, if they didn't learn those words, they would not be able to go into the lab and do other things. And I thought, wow, what a missed opportunity for making connections.
It's a great choice. I think we all made a good choice when we picked the book.
Please do the following. Record on your sheet 3 adjectives that describe your experience today. If you want to do phrases, that's fine too. Also record 2 ways your case study teacher is currently supporting the SEL development of students in poverty. Oftentimes, teachers may not realize that they're doing it, so those are opportunities for us to point out to them that this is what you are naturally doing. Start out from a success point for them. So think of your case study teacher and 2 instances within which you've seen them act in ways that did support the SEL development of their students. And then finally, record 1 new commitment that you individually are willing to make in an effort to support teachers. The folks in the outside circle will rotate clockwise to a new partner. The inside circle stays stationary. Okay? All right, you may begin. Go ahead. Share your three adjectives.
Adjectives are humble, interactive, and enlightened.
Students in my area about them.
Gotcha. I think it's mine. And read it and do my best to begin to share because just through our operational research, we figure out how to keep it in mind during that time period to down share a conversation. Yeah, like always trying to get that inside of that thoughts about poverty. Maybe dig some things out of the habit that we have because it's very eye-opening for myself.
I like that too.
To the final portion of our mentor forum today, which is the evaluation. And during this part, we talk about what worked, what went well during mentor forum today, any suggestions for changes or improvement, any questions that still remain. And at the bottom of the evaluation, we've added something this year called book study questions. I think it came from something Moline gave me last year, actually, when she was a recorder. She added that box, and I like having it there because it puts our questions and next steps in one place. And I know Sherelle has already recorded that there. So let's start with what worked. What about Mentor Forum today was impactful? What do you think went well, was a success?
The connector really set the stage and the tone for our learning today and really helped to kind of get those feelings, emotions, just really frame the thinking. Well, it gave me a great self-awareness about my area of growth.